Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Lucky, or in this instance, it's gonna be Titankat. So I am a writer on Wattpad called Titankat88. This is one of my many stories under the name Together, a Gravity Falls Ford Impreg fanfic. Um, I wrote this. I've been writing this all year. I am really proud of it. But I'm posting this video of me reading it because I thought some of my viewers might be interested in my fanfic, but don't like reading, because I do post this fanfiction on my Gravity Falls Amino, so I thought, hey, why don't I just make a video of, me reading it to them. So, yeah. Uh, so I'm gonna try my best not to stutter or, screw up words, but I cannot make any promises, so, yeah. Okay, let's get started. So this is chapter 1, William C. I'm gonna skip over this because it's not really relevant anymore. So, okay. So this chapter takes place in December. I always put the year or the month, or sometimes both in up there first, just so you know. Okay. Ford had just finished talking with Bill, and he heard a knock at his door. He went to the door and opened it. The chill wind of the snowstorm sent a chill down his spine. "Hello?" asked Ford as he saw a figure standing on his porch. "Hi, my car broke down a few miles from here. I was hoping I could use your phone," asked the man as Ford thought about letting a stranger into his home. "Should I let him in here? I have a lot of secret research that needs to stay secret. But it would be absolutely horrible to leave someone out in this storm. I have a phone, but the lines are down. Although I have an extra room, you can stay here until the storm passes," said Ford as he opened his door wider and let the man in. "Thank you so much. I'm William C.," said William as he took off his coat and stared into Ford's eyes. He had a dorky smile that made Ford blush. "Ford Pines," said Ford as he averted his gaze from the man's beautiful eyes. "Sorry, I was staring," said William as he blushed as well. "It's fine. I'll show you to the extra room," said Ford as he walked down his hall and pushed open the door to a dark room. Ford turned on the light and stepped aside to let William in. "Thanks," said William as he walked in. "I could take you to the diner to use their phone in the morning," said Ford as he stared at the floor. Feeling foolish for crushing on the man he just met. "Thanks for your hospitality," said William with a smile. "I'll see you in the morning," said Ford as he began to walk out. "Wait, I know this is kind of forward, but you're really cute," said William as Ford turned bright red. Thank you. I'll see you in the morning," Ford said quickly as he walked away, quicker. As soon as Ford closed the door, William smirked. "What a lonely moron. I think he'll do nicely," said William with Bill's voice. His eyes turned bright yellow, and he laughed quietly to himself. As soon as Ford went to sleep, which was very late in the evening, Bill turned into himself and went into Ford's mind. He discussed his plans with Ford, and they worked together closely. But what Ford didn't realize was that before Bill had entered his mind, Bill had done something to Ford's body that was most definitely permanent. The next morning, Ford woke to the smell of breakfast. He left his room to see where the smell was coming from. He went downstairs and found William with two plates of food at the dining table. "You made breakfast?" asked Ford as he sat down. "Well, I kind of got the sense you haven't eaten a decent meal in days. I hope you don't mind," said William as he sat down with a worried look. "No, it's fine. It's true, though." "This smells amazing," said Ford as he began to eat. They ate breakfast, and William cleaned up after they were done. Ford stood to go write in his journal when William grabbed his arm and pulled him closer. he placed his hand on Ford's neck, and then began to kiss him. Ford was caught off guard and decided to kiss back. "No," he said it as he shoved William away. "This isn't right," said Ford as he turned away. "Why not? I know you liked what I just did, but you're not comfortable with this part of yourself, are you?" "No, you're not." "Why?" asked William as he came closer to Ford. "It's only natural, of course. Was your family not supportive in this side of you? Or have you just never told them in fear they'd shun you out?" He whispered in his ear. "You're a perfect male specimen, you know. You're tall, you're the typical tall, dark, and handsome. You're everything I want and everything I need. Now the question is, am I what you want?" asked William in a whisper as Ford tried to repress the feelings he was having, but they were too strong. Ford turned and took William by the waist and placed his other hand on the side of William's face. He leaned his face close to his and kissed him passionately. He took him to the couch, and they made love all morning. Ford was exhausted and slept and fell asleep on the couch, while William turned back into Bill and entered Ford's mind. When Ford woke later, William was gone, and he was alone. I'm going to read chapter 2, which is titled Sick. It now takes place in January, 6 weeks later. 6 weeks had passed since Ford had met William C., and Ford was sad that the first man he had ever made love with just vanished. He was working on the portal with Fiddleford McGuckett when he stopped his work and started to rub his temples. He took off his glasses. "Hey, Ford, I did a few calculations and..." "Hey, are you okay?" asked Fiddleford as he came over and sat across from Ford. I can't do his accent. Literally, I don't know why I can't do his accent, but I can't, so you're gonna have to deal with my voice and my interpretation. "I'm fine, I just have a headache," said Ford as he winced. "I don't know, Ford, you've seemed like you aren't feeling well. Like you haven't been feeling well all day," said Fiddleford as Ford shook his head. "Fiddleford, I'm fine," said Ford as he stood and immediately almost fell. Luckily, Fiddleford caught him. "I think you've overworked yourself. You need some rest," said Fiddleford as he put Ford's... There's supposed to be a put there, whatever. As he put Ford's arm over his shoulders and helped him up the stairs. Ford went to his bedroom, and Fiddleford helped him sit down on the bed. "Just lay down and rest. I'll go do some of the work. Let me know if you need anything," said Fiddleford as he started walking away. "I don't need to be treated like a child," said Ford as he held his head. "I'm not trying to treat you that way. I'm just trying to help," said Fiddleford as he walked out. Ford laid down and tried to forget the pain in his head. The pain eventually subsided and he drifted to sleep. Fiddleford finished up most of what they had planned to do that day, but went to go check on Ford before he left. That works. He found Ford asleep with his glasses still on, so he came over and took off Ford's glasses. He placed them on the nightstand and started walking away. "Good night, Ford. I'll see you in the morning." That's not at all what he said. Let's try that again. He placed them on the nightstand and started walking away. "Good night, Ford. See you tomorrow," said Fiddleford as he left. That night, Ford didn't meet with Bill. He just dreamt of something strange. He saw flashes that he couldn't believe. He saw what seemed to be himself, but he looked much different. He looked pregnant, but he knew that was impossible. Then he saw blood-soaked towels, and he constantly heard the sound of an infant crying. Lastly, he saw a girl with dark brown hair, with gold streaks in it. She was around the age of 3 or 4. She was all he saw for a long time. He awoke the next day, and he had to do some research. He went to the Gravity Falls library and looked through some newspaper clippings. He finally found something relating to what he had hoped wasn't what had happened to him. He found a small article from 1924 So the article read, local Oliver Wilson claims to see and be a part of a cult that summoned a triangle beast in the Gravity Falls abandoned mines. Mr. Wilson had this to say. I thought the cult was a joke until my friends brought me down to the mines and showed me what they were working on down there. His friends Felix Allen and Ryan Olson have yet to be found. He had more to say on this alleged incident. They told me I was important. They said I was the vessel. I still don't know what that means. Ford put down the article and looked through to find anything else, because Ford remembered in one of his talks with Bill had said something about a vessel. He looked through the articles and found something that was published 4 months later. The article stated, Oliver Wilson was found at Gravity Falls Clinic being told the shocking news that he was distributing signs of pregnancy, which we felt is impossible. After a few examinations, he was found to have some female reproductive organs. We asked him if he had any kind of homosexual lovers, and Mr. Wilson had this to say. I did shortly after the cult summoned that beast. His name was William C. We slept together once and he just vanished. It was quite simple for Ford to put 2 and 2 together. I slept with Bill Cipher, he whispered as he put his head on the table and felt so ashamed. And now I'm pregnant with a child that is half human, half interdimensional beast. Great, Ford mumbled with a sigh as he felt so foolish for letting Bill control him like that. He went back to his cabin and waited for Fiddleford to show up. Ford hoped he didn't have to tell his dearest friend about the tragedy that they would have to put their lives' work on hold. Finally, Fiddleford showed up and immediately noticed Ford had something on his mind. Hey, Ford, are you feeling any better than yesterday? Asked Fiddleford as he sat down next to Ford. Oh, I'm feeling much better, said Ford as he sighed. Okay. Oh, I'm feeling much better, said Ford as he sighed, just wanting to get this over with. Fiddleford, I found out something about my health, so we'll have to put our work on hold for a while, said Ford as he just stared at the floor. What is it? Asked Fiddleford. Maybe I can help you through this, asked Fiddleford as he placed his hand on Ford's back. No, Ford said as he stood. Ford, I just want to help. Please, talk to me, begged Fiddleford as Ford sighed. Please, just keep an open mind, said Ford, giving in. Fiddleford sat down, and Ford followed. So I did some research and found these, said Ford as he pulled out the newspaper clippings and handed them to Fiddleford. He read them and looked at Ford. What do these have to do with you? Asked Fiddleford as he sat down. I summoned that triangle beast. His name is Bill Cipher, and he's also William C., said Ford as he hung his head, feeling so ashamed. And you and him... Oh, said Fiddleford as he looked so disappointed. And now you're pregnant with his child, right? Asked Fiddleford as he wasn't happy about this situation at all. The reason I'm showing you this is because I don't want to do this alone, Ford mumbled as he bit his lip, trying not to cry, but he was so terrified of what would come next. You're afraid, said Fiddleford as he scooted closer and hugged Ford. It's okay. I'll help you through this, said Fiddleford as he hugged his friend tightly. Really? Asked Ford with a smile. Of course. What are friends for? Said Fiddleford as Ford hugged him back. And that is Chapter 2. Okay, so I think I'm only going to do 3 chapters per episode of this. Just so, you know, I don't end up doing the entire series in one video, and it won't be hours long. But, this will be the last one for now. And, yeah. Okay, so this one also takes place in January. Ford laid inside sleeping as he was speaking with Bill in his dreams. "Bill, I know you're here. Show yourself," yelled Ford as Bill appeared in a chair, humming to himself. "What did you do to me?" demanded Ford, as Bill looked at him. "Six Fingers, I did what I had to," said Bill, as the chair disappeared and he floated over to Ford, who was not happy with that response. "What do you have to gain from impregnating me?" yelled Ford as Bill began to laugh. "Everything!" yelled Bill as he laughed. "Like what?" asked Ford, as Bill floated in front of him. "Well, not only a physical body, but one that can handle my extensive amount of abilities and power," said Bill as he twirled his cane. "Then why me?" asked Ford as he looked at the ground. "Well, Six Fingers, you not only have the willpower and the morality to go through something like this, but you're also intelligent enough not to get caught," said Bill as Ford looked up. "The last guy I tried this with immediately went to the hospital when he started showing signs, and the government did so many experiments on him that he just lost the willpower to live. Sadly, the offspring I create with a human won't have my immortality until they hit puberty, so that'll be a problem you'll deal with when the time comes," said Bill, as Ford looked confused. "You mean he," asked Ford as he was cut off by Bill, "took his own life?" "Most definitely. But I've gotten to know you enough that you value mortal life more than anyone I've ever met, so I know you'll do this right," said Bill with a demonic voice as he towered over Ford, with his yellow body turning red and his eye turned into a red spotlight over Ford's body. "I will," whispered Ford as Bill turned back. Good. But I'll be watching you, Stanford. Closely. Very closely," Bill's voice echoed as he disappeared. "But to be sure you don't think of ending the offspring's life, here's what I'd do to you if you did," said Bill as Ford felt a hand around his neck, starting to squeeze. Then Ford woke up, rubbing his neck, taking deep breaths. Ford heard something outside, thinking it was Bill, and starting to panic. But as he got to the door, closer to the door, he heard what sounded like children. So he opened the door. He looked out and saw there was nothing there. Then he really started to panic. "I need someone here all the time, so I don't feel like I'm going nuts," said Ford as he sat down and started dialing a number into his rotary phone. A familiar voice picked up. "Stetson Pinefield, if you're calling about the ripoff, I'll forward you to my complaints department," said Stan, as Ford was quite confused. "Stanley?" asked Ford, as he didn't understand what was going on. "Ford!" said Stan. "You have a company?" asked Ford, as he was still quite confused. "No, well, technically I don't have a complaints department, though. I kind of just hang up the phone. So what are you calling about?" "So are you calling to apologize to me?" asked Stan, as Ford sighed. "Not at the moment, no, but I have been rethinking a few decisions. But that's beside the point," said Ford quickly as he sighed. "The point is I need your help," said Ford, in a tone that even made Stan want to know what was bothering his brother. "Stanley, this is going to be hard to hear, but it's true, so I just need you to believe me," said Ford as he took a deep breath and just said it. "Stanley, I'm pregnant and He stopped by hearing his twin burst out with laughter. "Ford, why weren't you this funny in high school?" he said through his chuckles. "This isn't a joke, Stanley. I'm really scared right now. I just need someone I can trust," said Ford as Stan heard a quiver in his twin's voice. "Stanford, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were being serious. What do you need from me exactly?" asked Stan as he sounded a little afraid of what Ford would want from him. "I just need someone who won't leave, just so I feel like I'm not going nuts all by myself," said Ford as Stan sighed over the phone. I'll do it. "Where exactly do you live?" asked Stan as he sounded excited to see Ford again. "In Gravity Falls, Oregon, in a cabin out in the woods." "Stanley?" asked Ford as there was no response. "Stanley, did you hear me?" Once again, no response. Ford reached behind the stand and He kept the phone on and saw the cord was cut. "What the?" asked Ford as he held up the cord. Suddenly his door was opened and he turned to see Fiddleford. "Oh, hi," said Ford as he waved slightly to Fiddleford, who was stomping snow off his boots. "How are you feeling?" asked Fiddleford as he walked over to Ford and sat next to him. "Oh, fine. I spoke with my brother. I asked him to come visit, but before I could give him my address, the line was cut," said Ford as he dropped the cord. "You mean the brother that destroyed your chances at your dreams?" asked Fiddleford as he stared at Ford. "Well, I've been thinking about that, and I'm not so mad at him that I'm not so mad at him that I would deprive him of seeing my own child. And maybe it was just an accident," said Ford as Fiddleford smiled. "Well, I'm glad you spoke with him. Are things cleared up between you two?" asked Fiddleford. "I hope so," said Ford with a sigh. "You don't have to keep checking on me like this. I'm fine," lied Ford as he did enjoy the company, but was too afraid to tell Fiddleford to keep coming back to see him, so he lied. "Ford, you don't have to lie to me. I know you more than you think," said Fiddleford as Ford looked over at him. "I didn't realize you could read me like that," said Ford as he smiled. Fiddleford took a deep breath and wanted so badly to tell Ford how he felt about him, that he always felt this way about him. Then he was reminded that Ford had previously chosen a stranger he'd invited into his home over someone he's known for years. Fiddleford sighed and didn't exactly lie to him, but also wasn't telling the whole truth. "I guess I've just known you a long time," said Fiddleford as he avoided eye contact with Ford. "I know I should be worrying about my situation, but ever since I told you about this, you've been acting strangely. What's going on with you?" asked Ford as Fiddleford looked up and into Ford's eyes. Ford, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think I'm in love with you," said Fiddleford as Ford had a more positive look on his face than Fiddleford was expecting. "Well, I guess that makes two of us," said Ford as he blushed. Fiddleford smiled. "Really? You have these feelings? If you have these feelings, then why did you sleep with Bill Cipher?" asked Fiddleford as he was confused. Well, I didn't exactly. I didn't know you had the same feelings for me. He made me feel so different than I'd ever felt before. I guess I just fell for that fake charm," said Ford with a sigh as he turned away and felt ashamed. "Well, I guess we just failed at communication," said Fiddleford as he placed his hand on Ford's back and lightly traced his fingers from the center of his spine to his lower back. "I guess we don't have to fail again," said Ford as he scooted closer to Fiddleford. Ford placed his hand on Fiddleford's waist and leaned close. He took off his glasses and leaned closer to kiss him deeply. And that is chapter 3, and that'll be the end of this video. Leaving it on a very positive note. So, if you liked this video, like, comment, subscribe, all that wonderful jazz. And if you would like to continue hearing this story, please let me know. I'm still posting it as of today, and it is a really, really good story, and I really enjoy writing it. And if people really enjoy me reading it to them, then by all means, please tell me. Alright, so that'll be the end of this video. See y'all later.